What's going on today, you beautiful blessed boys and girls? Thanks so much for tuning in. This is the bankroll update number 5. Today I'm going to update you where we are in that bankroll. Currently, we're going from 3,000 up to 100,000. We're well on our journey here, a few months in. We had a nice little uptick in late December, so I'll share where I'm at with that with you guys. I'm going to share some pretty fun hands. I actually had a guy sit and just ship blind, literally just sit me heads up and go all in every single hand for about 20 minutes. It was not the outcome that I would have hoped for or that you would expect with a guy doing that. He actually ended up crushing me, but I'm going to share some of those funny hands and pretty big lesson I think we can take away along that. I'm also going to share what I think is really fun and some cool stories from the past. Being around poker for almost 2 decades, I've got some hilarious, really fun prop bet stories for you guys. I'm going to share some of those with you, what it was kind of like being around the mid to high stakes poker community back in the day, and some pretty fun stories there. And then I'm going to end with a pretty big announcement here and a decision that I just made here a couple days ago that I want to share with you guys affecting this bankroll challenge and talk about some of the future of where we're going. I appreciate all the love on the channel as we continue to grow. Make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, throw a comment down below. I'm still bringing out 4 people, gonna buy you into the Colossus event this year at the World Series of Poker. I'm gonna pay for your hotel, I'm gonna put you up, buy you into this event. All you have to do to enter in that is be subscribed to the channel, like the videos, and comment underneath. We're gonna do a live drawing here in 2 months, as soon as they announce the schedule, really, and see who wins that. So be sure to enter that. First off, the easy one, let's update the bankroll again. We started at 3,000. We had a really good December, which I was really happy about. January's been a little so-so, but as we sit today, we are at $10,947. We need a 1 buy-in or a little more rake back to hit that 11K mark, but we're closing in on that. So feeling really good. We're up just a shade under 8,000 here in about 4 months. That's typically about right where I'm at. A couple thousand a month online is about what I generate at this point in my life, playing about the times that I play. Excited to be able to play more live, hopefully here in the future, and I'll really get into that more at the end as I make an announcement here, kind of. So here about 3.5 weeks ago, this was pretty fun. I was finishing up a session, and all of a sudden the guy comes and sits me at 50 no limit. I start tables all the time at 100 no limit and 50 no limit, just hoping that players will come similar to this guy and kind of just maybe want to give money away. This happens quite often when you start the tables. And so he sits with like $26.42 or some really random number. And a lot of times when guys do this, you can be sure that's like the last money they probably have on the site, right? So he's maybe tilting out of his mind, who knows? Well, he sits, and the first thing he does, he goes all in. Well, I have nothing, so I fold. The next hand, I think I min-raise the button with like, you know, King 3 or whatever. He just goes all in for $27 now. He's gaining 50 cents or $1 each time. I fold. Well, I very quickly realized this guy is going to go all in every single hand. He proceeds to do this for the next 20 or so minutes, literally all in every hand. So it's very easy to play against, obviously. I min-raise the hands that I'm willing to call with. I fold everything else. I go through kind of a dry spell, and he builds up, you know, he steals like the first 7 or 8 pots. I just don't have anything really better than like Queen 8, Queen 9 that I'm willing to call with. And then I go ahead and pick up pocket 9s. He has deuce 8 offsuit, so we make the call. You know, he flops a deuce, turns an 8, and wins. So now he's got me covered, and he just keeps shoving. And he ends up winning 4 out of 4. Every single time we're all in. This guy has 9 deuce versus my ace 10. He has king 10 versus my queens. He hits, I didn't get this one captured on film, but it was like ace jack. I had him overcoded, so I had ace jack, and he had a worse ace. But he won every single one, and then what happened was a couple people saw that this was happening, and about like 10, 12, 15 minutes in, the table fills. He just keeps shoving. I got none of it. Everybody else won. I ended up losing like $170 to this guy. He got called and lost once, and then won another one, and ended up just piecing out and leaving with like $245 or something like that. So don't try this at home if you're trying to get better at poker. It's probably the worst strategy you can have. But I think it is cool, and I'm laughing when I'm playing and this guy's going all in. I think that's where the mindset really comes in with poker, right? You just have to understand math is going to dictate that you lose. All you do and all you can control is putting your money in good, which we did every time against this guy. It's not really hard to do that when you just kind of wait for a premium hand and call when he's going all in every hand. But you can't control what next 5 cards are going to come out. You can't control how long he's going to stay. And I think this is a big leak early in my poker career and really even in my life, right? Like I'd be angry about, a bad beat, angry about maybe what a boss said, angry about, traffic or these other things I couldn't control. And I think it's just a massive lesson to say, you know what, I'm going to do the best I can and just detach myself from those outcomes. I'm really obsessed with the process of everything now. I want to get better at the process, and the results will just inevitably take care of themselves. Now I'm up about 1.8 million or so lifetime playing poker. This is over 19, 20 years. And that's not because I care so much if I win the ace king versus the queen race here or whatnot. I just kind of think about, was it the right play and how I can get better? And so I think that's just a healthy way to approach life or poker. I've told this story before, but I knew I really made it as a poker player when I was playing pretty high stakes at the time. It was a 10, 20, 40 no limit game. Ended up getting $31,000 in the middle, three-way on the turn, my set of sevens. I'll never forget the hand because you never forget the bad beats you have along your way. But a guy had a pair and a flush draw, and a guy had a nut flush draw. So we literally got it in about as good as we could get in. I never run it twice. They asked me to run it twice. I didn't do it. And that flush card came down. I never forget, it was a 9 of hearts. It was like 12 years ago, and I can still remember. But I'll never forget just saying nice hand. I wanted the whale to keep playing, the guy who won the pot. It was a great thing. And I kept playing for another little bit. And I remember going out that night. I went bowling with a bunch of poker buddies and some friends, and no one knew that I'd lost that pot. It was the biggest pot I'd ever lost in my life at that point, $31,000. That's a lot of money, right? And so to still be able to have that strong mindset to say, you know what, I played the best I could. We'll show up tomorrow and play the best we can too. I think that's when you really know you've made it as a poker player. And so as I was building up to this, because I was not always like that, you can ask a lot of the people who knew me back in the day when I was first playing, beating holes through doors, smashing iPhones, a really rage and a tilt problem. And I'm grateful that poker helped me develop that, because I remember somewhere along the line in year 2 or 3 of poker, I just decided if I can't beat this, I don't even want to play anymore. And so what I started doing in the process I had is when I would take bad beats, and this was a well-known pro at the time, told me this was his process too, so we kind of stole it, and I'll share it with you guys. But he said, hey man, you get sucked out on, you feel that blood pressure start to rise, just say out loud, I'm super grateful that these fish play these games. If they didn't put money in bad and occasionally get lucky, it'd be like chess. Magnus Carlsen, and I'm not gonna bet him if I can win at chess, right? He could beat me 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 times. But the cool thing about poker is there is that element of luck where these guys can get lucky, and I kind of equate it to like me playing golf. I play 18 rounds of golf, man. I might hit one awesome shot, and that's the shot I'm going to remember, that I'm going to take away, that's going to keep me coming back to the golf course. I think it's the same way in poker. A lot of these guys show up, man, they got extra money, it's just gambling to them. They hit that inside gut shot, man, and they remember it forever. It makes them feel good. And so you need to be grateful, to be honest, is the mindset shift I switched around to being super grateful that these guys do hit those cards, because if they didn't, poker would just be like chess. Nobody would gamble on it, and I wouldn't have had the ability to make the kind of money I've had throughout my career. So now let's get on to some fun stuff, man. This is a really, back in the day, we just were out of line. We were 21, 22, 23, young kids, an influx of a lot of money, and we just didn't know what to do with it, to be quite honest. I wish I knew some of the money Twitter guys, and some of these guys told me to buy more assets. I was lucky that I saved some of it and invested some of it, but when I tell you some of these stories, man, it's kind of wild. I should have done more, but here's a few really fun prop bets that I saw people do along the way. Now, my best buddy, Steve, he and I really grew up together. I learned a lot from him at poker. We kind of came up at the same time. We were pros for about a decade together, so we had some pretty crazy times. So here's a photo of me and Steve drunk at, I think, the Orleans. We had played a private game there, something like, if you get bluff with deuce 7, you got to do a shot. Every time the waitress changed, you got to do a shot. We were always doing these crazy games, like every, once a month or so. And we bet each other that I could beat him sprinting on the opposite side of the escalator, and he could just run normal. And I think the bet was like $10, man. The thing is, we both lost. I remember winning the bet and holding my arm up like I was happy to do it, and I puked like 20 minutes later. So nobody wins a lot of these prop bets, as you'll see. But there's some pretty crazy ones. Some really crazy ones I saw were, again, my buddy Steve, shout out to him. He's just such a larger than life guy, man. Still is. I love this guy. But one night we were out at U of I at the bars, and I think the max you could cash out on NetTeller at the time was $400. So he would every day go get $400 in 20s. And so we're out that night drinking, and he has $400 in 20s, and we end up at like IHOP. And all of a sudden he has this genius idea as the waitress keeps coming over. He said, if you can chug that entire bottle of syrup in 10 minutes, I will give you this $400. Dude, without hesitation, this waitress takes the syrup, starts chugging it, man. The greatest part of this story is like 2:30 in the morning. Everybody in the restaurant is like looking at her, like, what is she doing? She's chugging it, she's choking a little bit, she's trying to get it down. Her manager yells at her like, Cindy, what are you doing? And she's just waving him off like, I'm gonna get this $400, right? She does end up getting the entire thing of syrup down. He pays her the $400, gives her a high five. We leave. And this stuff was pretty common back in the day if you hung out with us. We were just doing ridiculous things like this all the time. We Paid another non-poker buddy one time to eat 30 Jack in the Box tacos in under an hour. This was probably the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, as you should have seen the pool of grease around that, man. I mean, it was just, I think he got to like 26 or something and had to go out and get sick and then come back and finish it. And it's just, we were always doing crazy stuff like this. Some of these prop bets I can't even really talk about. They're not my stories to tell, and I don't want to out people. But I did have two really good buddies from Canada. Funniest guys I've probably ever met in my life. They actually had a prop bet to see who could hold their poop the longest, man. And they went like 5-6 days. It got to the point where none of us would even hang out with these guys because they started stinking so bad, man. And then it got to the point where we could decide where they ate. So we'd be like, Denny's, Taco Bell, McDonald's, and two of these guys are walking around all bloated, just disgusting, man. So back in the day, we had a lot of these. I saw people freeze out, stay in the pool, freezing cold water. Whoever could stay in there the longest won 10 grand. I saw a bet like that. I just saw some ridiculous bets back in the day when people just had too much money during the online poker boom. It was pretty crazy. It was fun times to be around back then. So I do want to update you guys too. I'm not stopping the bankroll challenge at all, but I am going to put a pause on it. This is day 4 now, and I'm actually going to take a 30-day break from poker. If you know me at all or a little bit about me, man, I'm a walk by faith, not by sight kind of guy. The thing that guides my life the most is a personal relationship and have a pretty deep faith. And lately I've felt really kind of like my best energy is not going towards maybe the things that it needs to go to. And so as I was journaling another morning ago, 5 or 6 days, I really felt this tug saying, hey man, I want you to give up a few of these things and really lean into, maybe some things that they're a little more important. And so I've learned to listen to those tugs in my life. So for the next 26 days, I will be playing no poker at all, that's live or online. After that, we'll reassess and see where we're at, but that doesn't affect the fact that I'm still going to put people in the Colossus. I'm going to play that myself, hang out, and have a fun weekend. So that won't change, but I'll keep you guys updated at the end of the 30 days. I'm not sure what I'll do. I kind of, just want to pray about it a little more, keep journaling, and make sure that I'm always aligning my best vision, my best focus with where I want to go, what my goals are at the time. So keep you guys updated. I really appreciate you tuning in. Give me some comments. Let me know what you guys would like to see next on the channel. Much love, and go have the greatest day of your life. Thanks for tuning in.